ひそひそ vs コソコソ。
A while ago, we spent several weeks learning about onomatopoeia related to light. Starting this week, let's spend a few more weeks learning onomatopoeia related to sound.
On this channel, I, as a native Japanese speaker, share tips that may help you in your Japanese learning by highlighting common mistakes I often encounter when talking with Japanese learners. Please subscribe to the channel to increase your practice opportunities.
First up is onomatopoeia related to voices. To start, let's look at these two onomatopoeia for speaking in a soft voice.
ひそひそこそこそ。
The common point between these two is that both express speaking in a low voice so as not to be overheard by others. Both expressions also carry the nuance of trying to avoid being noticed or drawing attention. Next, let's talk about the difference. First,
ひそひそ
is used when someone wants to avoid being overheard or is trying not to disturb those around them, adopting a modest and quiet demeanor. For example, conversations in quiet places like libraries or hospitals are often described as
ひそひそ
You'll often hear it in phrases like
ひそひそ話
which means a whispered conversation, used when sharing a secret or avoiding disturbing others. This term carries no sense of guilt, it simply expresses quietness and discretion. On the other hand,
こそこそ
has a slightly different nuance. It often refers to actions taken in secret to avoid being noticed, usually with a slight sense of guilt. For example, someone might
こそこそ
use their phone behind their parents' backs. It doesn't necessarily imply wrongdoing, but it suggests that something is being hidden or done covertly.
こそこそ
Carries a sense of guilt. Also,
こそこそ
can be used as an onomatopoeia to describe actions, while
ひそひそ
is rarely used for actions. Let me give you a few examples.
ちょっと、何ひそひそやってんの？抜け駆け話だからね。
女子高生3人が図書室で何やらひそひそ話している。
ひそひそ声だったけれど、さっき聞こえたのは間違いなく日本語だった。
なんだ、あいつら集まってこそこそ話してるけど、なんか怪しいな。
看護師たちが父の病室から出てきて何かこそこそ話していたのを偶然見てしまいました。
こそこそ話してるつもりだったみたいだけど、全部聞こえてたからね。
The difference between
ひそひそ
and
こそこそ
is that when there is clear guilt or secrecy that anyone can sense, it's obvious that
こそこそ
is not appropriate. However, in situations where this isn't clear, the speaker's subjectivity plays a big role. For example, even if people speaking in hushed tones have no bad intentions, whether it's perceived as
ひそひそ
or
こそこそ
can often depend on how the observer feels. Imagine a group quietly talking on a crowded train, and you happen to catch one of their eyes. If you don't sense anything suspicious, you'd probably say they are,
ひそひそ話している
but if you feel they might be talking about you because you locked eyes with one of them, you might describe it as.
こそこそ話している
Therefore, conversely, even if the person who is actually
こそこそ話
feels guilty and speaks in a lowered voice, from the perspective of those around them, it is highly likely to be seen as just a.
ひそひそ話
Now, let's work through some examples. These are two onomatopoeias whose usage often depends on subjectivity, so this time, let's determine whether
ひそひそ
fits naturally in the situation or not.
1問目
In a classroom full of serious students, a few struggling ones whisper discreetly about cheating methods.
Fit or unfit?
The answer is
Unfit.
It is a situation where the word
こそこそ
is generally used.
2問目
In the hospital waiting room, a mother and her child are speaking in a lowered voice.
Fit or unfit?
The answer is
Fit.
In this situation, both
ひそひそ
and
こそこそ
would be fitting.
3問目
Before the movie starts, right after the lights go down, speaking quietly to avoid disturbing those around you.
fit, or unfit?
The answer is
fit.
In this situation, both
ひそひそ
and
こそこそ
would be fitting. How is that? Next time you hear or see someone speaking quietly, try to think about which onomatopoeia would be more suitable, or if either could work. With practice, you'll make quicker decisions. Give it a try. We'll continue discussing sound-related onomatopoeia next week.
今日はこれで終わりです。今回の結果はいかがでしたか？皆さんの日本語学習のお役に立てれば幸いです。
And that's all for today's exercise. How did today's results stack up for you? Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.